Hi guys and dolls, today I'm going to be sharing with you a Walmart haul, and I don't actually get a chance to shop at Walmart terribly often because the one that's closest to me is in the opposite direction of where I do all the rest of my errands, and so most of the stuff that you can get at Walmart you can get at Target, and since that's in the direction that I normally go, it just makes more sense. But every now and then I've got to hit up Walmart because there are some Walmart exclusive brands like Hard Candy and the recently launched Flower Beauty, which is Drew Barrymore's new line. So that was like the #1 thing I wanted to check out when I went in for this haul, so we're going to get to that last because that portion of the haul is kind of rough because there's stuff that I like and stuff that I really don't like, so I want to spend some more time on that. So let's kind of breeze through the first couple things. Before we get started, I do want to let you know there is a makeup tutorial on this look, so if you want to click on the link right here, it'll take you straight to that makeup tutorial. Also, really quickly, kind of self-promotional, but if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up because the YouTube subscription thing is kind of weird, and the more people like a video, the more it'll show up in other people's feeds. Alright, so the first thing I want to share with you are my nail polishes from Pure Ice, and I'm really excited about these because these are like $1.97, so they're infinitely cheap. This one here is called Busted, and it's a very pale lilac. It's a very sheer color. I figured this one would be nice as like a layering polish. It almost has a little bit of like a duochromosity to it, or a multichromosity. I'm making words up, but it's quite pretty. I'm going to try to not use the words very or really for the rest of this. We'll see if I can succeed. The next shade is Deja Vu, which is ironic because it's very quite similar to a lot of other nail polishes that I have. So for instance, this is a spa ritual polish called Meditate on This, and this is an Orly one called Lunar Eclipse. I have a Milani one that's similar too, but I don't know where it is. But anyway, all very similar, sort of like a deep cobalt blue with a little bit of a purple duo finish. I'll be sharing comparison swatches of these on my Instagram, Tumblr, Twitter, Facebook, all that social media stuff. This last one I'm super excited because last year for Black Friday I purchased my first Butter London polish. This is the Black Knight, and it's a black with multicolored glitter. It's kind of amazing. It's almost like a smoky gray more so than a black. But what I generally do is I'll do like one coat of black polish, put one coat of this on top, some top coat, done and done. So when I saw this at Walmart, I was like, oh, hi, you're like the exact same thing. So the Walmart version is called Private Show, and this one again is called the Black Knight. They are identical. I did a swatch of these and I'm like, I don't know which one is which, so that's amazing. It just has a price comparison. This one is $1.97. This one is, I think, $14 or $15. So, and you actually get more in the ice polish, so quite impressed with that. One of the brands I knew I wanted to hit up while I was at Walmart is Hard Candy, and so they recently redid their nail polishes, so I picked up just a few. This one is but anyway, that's all, folks. The first shade that I picked up is Piece of Papaya. This one also seems like it's going to be kind of sheer. I don't know, I haven't swatched it yet. But I think that this one will be nice as a layering polish for coral polishes or maybe raspberry polishes or something like that. The next one is called Bity Blue, and it's sort of similar in concept to this one from Ice, or Pure Ice. I keep just calling it Ice. Pure Ice. But this one is more of a turquoise shade compared to the one from Ice. So they're a little bit different. We'll see how they swatch, if they end up looking similar or not. And then this last one is called Crush on Lava. And this one seems to me like it's just a redo of the shade that they had before called Beetle. So I will be doing comparison swatches of this one on my Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, blog, blah, 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 as well. So the next thing I picked up was the All Glossed Up Hydrating Lip Stain in Chic and Love Bite. This one is sort of a nudie kind of pink. It has just enough pink in it to where it doesn't look like brown on me, which most nude things either look like I put concealer on my lips or they make me look like I have brown lipstick on. And then this one, it looks purple, but it's more of like a pinkish berry kind of shade. Both of these are lovely, and I like this type of product where you can just kind of put it on. It's a little tiny bit hydrating, but mostly it's like a sheer wash of color. The only thing I don't like about these is they have kind of a crayon-esque smell. I'm not really a fan of that, so they're not my favorite. I'm probably not going to use them in tutorials that much. I'm just being honest. If it was like my very best friend asking me, hey, should I get those? I'd go, you know, there's other stuff similar to it on the market that you could get that would be better. I've had a lot of requests to do a review of the Hard Candy Glamouflage Heavy Duty Concealer, and this is one of the items that I went there specifically looking for. Unfortunately, I don't like it, and I gotta say, you guys, I really don't recommend this. It's a very pigmented concealer, and so when I first squeezed it out of the tube, I put it on the back of my hand, and I was really impressed. I'm like, wow, this cover's so great. This is gonna be an awesome concealer to recommend for full coverage. The problem is, as I said, I squeezed it on the back of my hand. I used very, very little, and I put it underneath my under eye, and this just never, ever, ever set. It stayed kind of wet and goopy, and you guys, I know how to apply concealer. I know I wasn't doing it wrong. It just, the product just wasn't great. I mean, it's just, it has amazing coverage, but it doesn't set. More importantly, I actually ended up getting a zit in this area, which I don't generally get zits right here, so I know it's from this product, especially since I only applied it to the one side. So disappointed with this. I don't know. I don't really know what else to say. I feel bad saying don't buy this, but really I don't think it's a good product. If someone out there knows how to use this or really, really loves this product, please share your experience in the comment section below, because I would like to know if this does in fact work for anyone. I would imagine that if you had incredibly dry skin, it might be okay, but even then, the skin around my eyes is pretty dry, and it just kind of sat on top. It was no good. Luckily, I picked up another concealer from Hard Candy while I was there. This is the Light Bright Concealer, and it comes in one of those twist-up, clicky pen type applicators, and I love this concealer. It's really, really good. I got the shades 505 and 504, which are both relatively light. What's interesting is that the 504 is actually deeper in tone than the 505, which, you know, progressively you'd think that it would get darker. It can be difficult to tell what your concealer shade is in store, so I will tell you guys right now that if you're very, very, very super duper fair, try the 505 light because it's lighter than the 504, but I can actually get away with wearing either one of these. I like the texture of this. I like the coverage. Overall, I'm really impressed with this. This is, I would say, probably my favorite drugstore concealer. In fact, let me explain to you guys how much I like this. Generally, when I get new products, I put them in a drawer of things that I'm testing out, and I wait a while to see if I really like them before I like introduce them into my regular makeup storage. These actually go in the drawer where I keep my everyday makeup, so love those. The number one reason why I went to Walmart is because I wanted to check out Flower Beauty, which is Drew Barrymore's new makeup line. I'm a huge fan of Drew Barrymore, and I love that the whole line is made in the USA. It's all cruelty free, so I was just really I was so amped up. I'm so excited, and it sucks because now I have this very conflicted feeling where overall I think that the packaging of this brand is really beautiful, and I'm not impressed, and I wanted to be impressed. You know, like when you, and it's not as though I had built it up with so much hype. I knew it was a drugstore line, but I think that there's some really fantastic makeup at the drugstore, and I feel like these fall short of the best of the drugstore, which is really too bad because, as I said, the packaging is fantastic. So let's kind of launch in first with the things that I do like. So the first thing that I want to start out with is the foundation. This is the About Face in LF1. This little name on the back here, and it has a pump, which I'm always a fan of any foundation that comes with a pump, or at least I get extra cool points because it just keeps everything sanitary as opposed to like a pore thing. I haven't tested this out that much, but so far I can tell that the shade matches me well and has a nice natural like texture and a nice natural finish. It doesn't have a whole lot of coverage, but it's kind of nice. It's kind of nice for those days that you don't want like full coverage. The next thing I want to talk about is the lipsticks. They come in a tube like this or a tube like this. The ones that come in the white tube, I believe, are the like velvet mattified formula, and the kind that come in a tube like this are the more glossy hydrating type. So first and foremost, let's talk about the packaging. Obviously, kind of gorgeous. It says flower and a sort of metallic rose gold label. The tubes themselves are somewhat Art Deco inspired, so the packaging gets a total like thumbs up for me on that point, and that's kind of where it ends. The first kind of oops for me, and this is a big one for me, is here you see that the shade has like an indicator of the color, and on some of them it's very accurate. This one is called Flamingo Flower, and that shade looks like the shade on the bottom. Maybe this is a little bit cooler toned, but overall it's a pretty good indicator. So then you get to something like this. This is called Petal Kiss, and it looks like kind of a warm pink, and it's more like a brown. So That one is not quite as bad as this one, which is called Sweet Peony, and this looks like it's sort of like a light blue pink, and this is more of a warm pink. That's bad. And then this last one called Rosebud looks sort of like a rose red pink, and it's a definite red lipstick. So while you can go online and look at blogs and look at swatches and see what things actually look like, I feel like the color should be better represented if you're not going to have the tube open to where people can see the lipstick. There's no testers at the drugstore. And here's the number one thing that really irritates me about this. There's nowhere on the lipstick tube itself that says what color it is. So once you get your lipstick home, you're going to take off this sticker, right? Because it has the, the barcode on it, and you don't want the barcode on your lipstick anymore. And then what you have is you have a lipstick that doesn't say the name on it. It does have a sticker here that says LS2, so technically if you kind of did your research, you could go through the lipsticks and find which one. But I don't understand what the point is of even giving it a name if you're not going to have the name on the actual product. So let me get to the actual product. And overall, I feel like the lipstick formula, it's not bad or anything, but I feel like it's kind of average. There's nothing about it that's like, wow, this is great. Wow, it's so pigmented. Wow, the texture's so smooth. There's no wow factor. And in and of itself, a basic lipstick in a beautiful tube. I mean, this packaging makes it so almost worth it. But the fact that the texture of it is just not as refined as some other drugstore lipsticks, and on top of that, that doesn't have the label for the name. To me, it's one of those things like you're either going to get it because you love Drew Barrymore or you love the packaging, or you're not. And that's really too bad, because this could have been a really cool line, and I hope that they will continue to improve it and impress us in the future. So let me go ahead and get on to some other things that I don't like. I hate making videos like this, you guys. I put it off for so long because I just feel like I'm such a negative Nancy. Okay, so the next item that I'll talk about is the Zoom In Waterproof Mascara in Intense Black. This one, I don't know. I'm not a big fan of drugstore mascaras in general because I have a problem with smudging. But usually waterproof mascaras, it's kind of like hit or miss. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. This one didn't work for me. So the gimmick with this one is that it has like a little twist thing so you can change it to modify the shape of the brush. Honestly, I didn't notice any difference no matter how the brush was shaped and how it applied. It kind of looked spidery, which I'm not a big fan of. But more importantly, within like a half an hour, I had massive like raccoon eyes going on. Not really a fan. It was difficult to remove, even with makeup, remover. So I guess it is probably waterproof, but you'll also have a ring of black around your eye. Not really a fan. The next product I picked up was the Shine On Lip Gloss, and this shade of this one is Lovely Lotus. It's a really pretty pink. And overall, the texture of the gloss is fine. It's not, again, it's not like revolutionary. It's not like, wow, this is so great. You need to own every color of this. It's okay. If anything, it's maybe a little bit on the thin side where you can kind of like feel the texture of your lips. But I mean, there's nothing offensive about it in any way, shape, or form. Once again, we have the label on the bottom and the name of the product on the barcode, which in order to open this, you're going to want to take this off when you first get it anyway. So once you've taken that off, you have no label except for this on the bottom, which again, that looks like a working product name or a working, I don't know how to explain it, but like while something's in production, they'll do things like a code like this. And to be clear, it's not like a company that just has numbers for their products. Like for instance, Makeup Forever has everything numbered like, 92, 31, whatever. With this, it has a name. It's called Lovely Lotus, but it has the little number on the bottom because the name of the product is on the barcode. So the next item I picked up is the Color Play Cream Shadow. I got Orchiding Around, which is sort of like a taupe, gunmetal, purpley, toned-ish kind of color. It's quite beautiful. The next one I picked up is Midnight Garden, sort of a black with a nice graphite with multicolored shimmer in it. The next one is called Flirty Florette, nice like brown bronze. And then this one is called Lilac You A Lot. It's a lilac shade with kind of like a pink duochrome to it. Again, I'm going to say the packaging on this is absolutely gorgeous. I mean, there's no denying that the square shape. I love the way that the rose gold continues on the underside of the labels, that you actually see it through on the underside. I love how you can see the color. These would look fantastic in a drawer. And they're just, the packaging on these is fantastic. with a few issues. Again, we have the barcode of the product that is on the bottom, which is the only place where the name is. It's a continuing theme. And then the other thing is that they have this little stopper thing on the inside, which is meant to keep the product from spilling out, but when I opened this one, it looked like that. That didn't happen from use. So, and like that. So, not really a big fan. And these were not opened. I double checked everything that I bought to see if it was open first. Beyond that, I've actually tested these out and they crease horribly, whether you use a base, whether you don't use a base. That was my experience. A friend of mine tried it and it didn't crease on her, but she has drier skin than I do. So if you have oilier skin, I'm afraid that these are kind of a greasy, creasy mess and not really worth it. And on top of that, they're kind of sheer and just, I'm not impressed. So the last thing that I'm going to share with you is the eyeshadow palette, and I got this in Smoke and Mirrors. Again, they win for packaging. This is a really pretty presentation for a quad. I love the shape. I love how it's kind of has the bumpiness. I love how the rose goldness goes all around. That's just fantastic. Unfortunately, the shadows in this palette are really powdery, which in and of itself is not a total crime. One of the brands I love is Inglot, and their eyeshadows are very, very powdery. However, these are powdery and they fade really fast, which is, to me, just inexcusable in an eyeshadow. In this day and age, there are so many fantastic brands that come out with really fantastically formulated eyeshadow, and some of them only cost like a couple of dollars. For this quad to be $10 and the eyeshadows fade fast, they don't build well, and they're really powdery, it's just, I can't recommend that to my subscribers. I just can't. So it's with a heavy heart that I have this sort of mixed feeling about Flower Beauty. I don't think that the lipsticks are like offensively bad or anything, but I think that the packaging needs work. The foundation so far, again, I've just barely tested, but I do like the texture of it, and I like how it looks very natural on the skin. And everything else I tried, I have to say, I just don't really like. I do want to end this video on a high note, so I want to reiterate some of the great things. The Light Bright Concealer from from Hard Candy is really, really fantastic. Wonderful texture, good color payoff, inexpensive. I mean, it's a ball. The Pure Ice dupe for the Butter London nail polish, how awesome is that? And you actually get more with this for only $2 versus $15. And then of course the Crush on Lava from Hard Candy. This is one of my favorite polishes of all time, and I say that because there's so many different versions of it out there. I have the original Hard Candy, I have an Orly version, I have a MAC version. This is just a really fun color because it's so multi-chromatic. Alright, I think that's pretty much it. Follow me on Instagram to see color comparisons of some of the nail polishes and all that nice neat junk. I hope you're having a fantastic day, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Remember to be vintage or tacky. Just be yourself. See you, bye.